Breaking news. This is INB Minister Mehti asks to stop dissemination of the contentious NCERT book via digital platforms media. The Union Ministry of Education on Thursday, in fact, wrote to the Ministries of Information and Broadcasting and Electronics asking them to stop the dissemination of a controversial NCERT textbook through digital platforms and electronic media as per official reports. Now, this directive, remember, comes after the Supreme Court on Thursday imposed a complete blanket ban on any further publication, reprinting, or digital dissemination of the NCERT's Class 8 social science book as it contained offending contents on corruption in the judiciary, saying a gunshot has been fired and the institution is bleeding. While removal of physical textbooks and stoppage of their reprinting is being done by the NCERT and allied agencies, their dissemination through digital platforms and electronic media has to be stopped by the competent authorities, that is the Ministry of Electronics, Information Technology, which we know as the MIT, and the Ministry of Information and Broadcasting, is what the letter in fact underlines. So this is what we are looking at. Yesterday, remember, the Supreme Court hearing came in with the blanket ban of this very NCERT Class 8 textbook of social science, where there were, in fact, insinuations made against the judiciary of our country, and which is why initially it had, in fact, led to a big controversy to unfold, but the controversy very quickly went to the very doorsteps of the court of law, and not just any court, but the topmost court of the country, that is the Supreme Court. And that's when the entire order came in from for the blanket ban. And very immediately, in that very order itself, the Supreme Court had said that there is no particular copy of this book that should be sold, but more importantly, while printing can be stopped of the books, while selling of the books can be stopped, what becomes very difficult at this given point of time is to ensure all digital platforms also remove any of the contents that have this particular portion which led to the entire controversy to unfold. That's the portion against the judiciary. Now, there have already been circulations, and it has been widely circulated what this entire controversy or what that portion in that NCERT book contained. So, which is why now there's an entire letter that's come in from the Information and Broadcast Ministry as well as the Ministry of Electronics. And they've all asked to stop dissemination of the contentious NCERT book via digital platforms as well as media. So the Union Ministry of Education on Thursday had come out to write to the Ministries of Information and Broadcasting and Electronics, asking them to stop the dissemination of the controversial NCERT textbook. We have Anisha Mathur joining us on the broadcast to just bring this to further context. Anisha, very good morning to you. This is what we see, the letter that's gone out to both the INB Ministry as well as the MIT at this given point. Both union ministries have been strictly asked to ensure that the dissemination of this NCERT book is immediately stopped.
Well, yes, this was exactly what the order from the Supreme Court was yesterday. Remember, after this book had come out, the court had taken so moto notice. Yesterday's hearing was extremely fire and brimstone against the government authorities, the officials. And just yesterday, after this hearing had happened, after the order had been passed, Union Education Minister Dharmendra Pradhan had also expressed the anguish and regret over the NCERT coming up with this kind of a chapter, promise that accountability will be fixed. And now this press release has come that the action that the Supreme Court had ordered has in fact now been taken. Now remember, we need to also remember exactly how much the court had said yesterday, because if our viewers would remember, yesterday the court had been extremely scathing in its remarks when it came to this NCERT book. It had said that shots have been fired against the judiciary, image of the judiciary is being tarnished deliberately, and this is a deep-rooted conspiracy. And in fact, it had said heads must roll for this, and the direction had been given by the Chief Justice's bench that all copies of this controversial book must be scrubbed. Every Education Department is responsible. The Secretary of Education as well as the chairperson NCERT have been issued the show cause notices for contempt of court. And the Solicitor General have been asked to give a list, the NCERT director have been asked to give a list of the persons who were part of the committee who had passed this book. So clearly, the government now scrambling after yesterday's...
Right, Anisha. That's the broad context behind this particular news break that we're bringing to our viewers at this point. And this is the latest update in this very particular story that we have been covering very closely.